right, so let's make a wallet. I may not be able to read all of your comments, and I probably won't be able to respond to your comments because this takes some concentration. But this is going to sell these 4 wallets because I've got 4 blanks, okay? I have 4 blanks left. This one I just finished yesterday. This is not your Philippines. We're not talking about the Philippines here. I'm talking about just what I'm doing to fill in the time while I am recuperating and rejuvenating and rehearsing and getting ready to have the next eyeball cut into. Really looking forward to that. Who wouldn't look forward to having their eyeball cut into with a sharp blade? You know, the best part, I gotta say, this place I went to, really, they knock out about 30 a day. So that's the kind of place you want to go to get your eyes fixed. You want to go to the place that knocks out 30 a day. See, I'm using 2 needles here, all right? This is how you do a saddle stitch, is you use 2 needles. A little bright maybe, I know, right? Because I got a light sitting right above me so I can see what I'm doing. So the saddle stitch has to be done the right way. You don't do the saddle stitch the right way and it comes out bad, but you see this mess you got right here? It's this huge kind of mess of thread. Well, it all has to be turned the right direction. And then you pull it slowly together so it doesn't, so it's as neat as it can be. And then at the end, you give it a little fast tug to tighten it into place. Now, I have again lost the needle on this piece of thread. And what that means is that I now have to go to the floor. Hi there. I now got to go to the floor and find the needle again. So I know this is boring, but this is what you do when you're sitting around waiting for the eyeballs to get fixed. Is you look at the leather in your room. I look at the leather and I go, wow, I got 4 blanks there ready to be made into wallets. And I have had very little interest in doing the wallets again up till now. See, this is another blank that's ready to go. It is not punched, but it is put together, ready to go. And it's basically held in place very loosely on these edges here. So one of the hardest things to do in this entire endeavor is the punches. The punches are tough. And the sewing can go faster, all right? If you got, I don't want to say better skills, but the more that you do this, the better you get at it. So I've put the 1 needle through the hole. Now I take the other needle and I'm putting it through the same hole, okay? This is the essence of the saddle stitch. Is you put the second needle, this one here, through the same hole. Oh, who's here? I can't see who's here. Like I say, I don't think there's gonna be much chatting going on my end. I don't think there's gonna be any chatting going on because number 1, I can't really read it. And number 2, I can't chat and make these needles do what I want to do at the same time. Let's see, who's here? Al's here. That's all I can see is Al. Hey, Al. See, I'm not really reading the screen. So now I've got both needles through, and now I'm going to make, See, I just dropped the damn thing on the floor again. Now I'm going to pull them, and then I give them a little tight pull right at the end. And I go down to the floor one more time to find the needle that dropped. Okay. Because if you're any good at this, it's great to see something. I don't know. I got some comments here. Let me go up and just look at the comments real quick. And then we shall go back to the, let's see, Al is here. Sonny is here. Oh no, a wallet video. Sasha, good to see you, Al. You practice sewing for your cataract. Yeah. You know, the good thing about the cataract is it's like self-sealing. All right. So once they jam that needle into your, once they jam that thing into your eye, and there's nothing like a sharp object being jammed into your eye to get your attention. Okay. Use capital letters. I don't know what that means. other than I can't really read it. You know, the weird thing is that I take off my glasses and on the eye that's fixed, I can actually read better. Okay, so anyway, let's go back to making a wallet. All right, both needles are in place. Well, only one needle is in place. See, now since I'm talking to you, it's taking a little longer to get this done because I'm, narrating as I go. And I know only the diehards are going to stick around for this because this is nobody's idea of a good time watching somebody make a wallet. But to do the saddle stitch, okay, you have to put the needle through here and pull it out the other side. Wife finished one of her, see, this stuff goes away. Wife finished one of her meds today, 100 days. 100 days, unless you repair the difference in the eye, it was repaired. Yeah, I do notice a difference, Sonny, in the eye that was repaired. I am starting to notice a difference. My distance vision is much better than it used to be without the glasses. So I'll see when this whole thing is done. So I've put one needle through. Okay, and what I've got is a loop right here. And now this second needle right here is going through the same hole as the first needle went through. The same one, but you got to drop it through the loop, okay? You don't want to go outside the loop. You want to go through the loop. And that's just the way it goes. It depends on which way the wallet's facing as to which way you go through the loop. But you pull these nice and gingerly until you get to the end when you give it a nice firm tug. Sort of like when you get in that vasectomy, and the doctor's down there working on the boys, and you're thinking, man, this is pretty painless. This is pretty painless. I can deal with this. And then you feel the tug. And then you feel the tug. What does Sonny say here? Sonny says, I saw my doctor last Tuesday. She said my eye is okay, no change, and too soon for cataract surgery. Well, I was not lucky enough to get that good of a diagnosis. Mine, I believe, are mainly due to radiation because the lens of the eye is very sensitive to radiation. And working in X-ray for all the years that I did, and not only X-ray, but working in the cardiac cath lab for all those years I did, before they came out with lead glasses, okay, when they finally came out with lead glasses or lead goggles that you could wear over your glasses, and everybody finally started wearing them, everybody got the message that radiation was probably no good for the eye. So I give it a little tug, as you do for the vasectomy, when the doctor gives it a little tug and you go, oh, that's not normal. I don't like to feel that. But this is going down the long side of the stitching here. This is the longest This is the longest stitching side. There's 3 sides to do. Once again, I make a loop. Okay, I go through with 1 needle and I make a loop. And I put that off to the side and I put tension on that loop. So I can put the second needle through the same hole, hopefully not catching the first thread, because if you catch the thread, you got to back it all out and start over. You don't want to catch the thread. Now, let me also say that anybody with any real experience in this can whip these out really fast. Okay, I mean you can like throw a saddle stitch through here real fast. Me personally, I can't throw a saddle stitch through here real fast. I can only do it the way I can do it, which is generally slow and laborious. But it is a time killer. And here in Arizona, when it's snowbird season and the snowbirds are out in force, see, put it right through the loop. Okay, there's the loop. Here's the needle going through the loop. You pull it slowly, you unravel it, you pull it slowly, you pull it slowly, you pull it slowly, and then right down at the end, you give it a little hard tug. Ooh, that didn't feel good. So like I said, I'm not expecting a great turnout here because, number one, I can't really read the messages. I got to move the camera and everything to read the messages. So I am just sitting here doing this. People don't realize that doing this stuff by hand is really quite a bit of laborious, labor-intensive work. Give it a little tug. Somebody said something. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on. Let's read the messages. What nap is the leather? Wait, what nap is the leather you're working? Oh, well, the leather, this leather is an oil tanned leather. So the nap is it's kind of a soft nap. It's not easy to burnish the edges because it's an oil tanned leather. And oil tanned leather is what they had at Tandy when I was looking. That's it. Finishing seems a little easier to me. Oh, fishing seems easier. Yeah. Will you number each as an original? That's interesting. Will I number each as an original? What nap is the leather? Yeah, this leather, you can't really call it a nap. It's an oil tanned leather. And if you got an oil tanned leather, it's kind of soft. Okay, the next leather I get is going to be different. What is a good leather to use, Mark Strong wants to know. Well, you know what? I would say a Horween leather out of Chicago. Horween has been tanning leather since 1902 in the same place in Chicago. So Horween, I would say a Horween leather of almost any type is a good leather to use. Okay, this is not a Horween. This is a Tandy. Now, you see this tool here? See this little reamer? This little reamer is going to get reamed into this little hole right here because this little hole didn't want to take the needle. I know. There could be jokes made there, but we shall refrain from those jokes because, just because. And I haven't even got to the end of this yet. And I'm not, if I really concentrated, I could go faster, but I'm not really concentrating. I have a design for a wallet. Can't you get that from Tandy? Mark Strong says. You can't get Horween leather from Tandy. You got to get Horween leather from Horween. Tandy has their own version of leather. I mean, Tandy is Tandy is sort of the consumer leather store, but the guys that really do a really good job, and I am not one of those guys that do a really good job. I mean, over on the Wallet channel, I used to review wallets all the time, and these guys were just pros. I mean, these guys did a beautiful job. I am not that. I am not that. But I can generally get one done. And this is actually a pretty good wallet. It can hold a lot of cards and a lot of cash and not seem that thick. So once again, I've created another loop here, and I'm going to slowly pull this loop together until right at the end when I give it a nice hard pull. And you can see the line of stitching that's going in right here. Now, when it comes down to the end, that's another whole, see, I got the water here, but you can't bitch at me this time because, I'm not putting the water up to my face and drinking it. But this is what you do when you're sitting around in Arizona waiting to get shit done. This is what you do when you have completely run out of anything else to do in life. Damn it, I just dropped that thing on the floor again. This is what you do when you've completely run out of things to do in life. This is what you do. My wife always has me thread needles for her when she sews something. Is this going to be ready for your next trip to the Philippines? How do I order? Al, I don't. I'm going to stick a link on the header of the channel when I get all 4 of them done, and there'll be one in each color of thread. There'll be white one, brown one, blue one, green one. So I'm going to stick a link to like Venmo or something like that up in the header of the channel. I used to have a whole website for them that people used to order from there. But I still have the website, but I got to put all the stuff back in it and all that. So I'm thinking just a Venmo or something like that. Cash App, Venmo, something like that. Something simple. If I decide I want to do more of these. Because they're really, as you can see, they are labor intensive. They are labor intensive. The stitch, like I say, if you do this enough, what's Al saying? Okay, I will wait for that. Okay. If you do this enough, it becomes pretty quick. Okay, I haven't done it enough. There's a couple little design features I would like to add to this that I think would help out, but I don't want to do that until I get a little better at actually getting it all right the first time. Because I'm not quite there yet. I'm pretty much there, but I'm not quite there. Now, we are down to the end. Okay, you see the end right here? Now we got to go. Now we got to tie this double piece of leather right here. You see, this is double right here. See that piece of leather right there? We got to tie this piece to this piece. So that means that there is one hole here. So you pull it tight, you take this one and you put it through the hole that you've created. But it's only one thickness. Okay, there's not two. So now you have to do the same thing. You have to bring it back and you have to put it through again. Now that ties this right here That ties this to the main body of the leather. Now comes the tough stuff. Okay, now comes the hard part. That was the easy part. Okay, now we put these two needles away. These are basically just leather sewing needles. And now, and now, and now, there's still 19 people watching this. You guys are the diehards, man. Now I've got regular sewing needles, all right? Just like grandma used to use, all right? Not that I'm not grandma, but I got regular sewing needles now. Because what I have to do is this, and this is no fun. So I take it out of the stitching pony. Okay, this is the stitching pony. This is the taker outer of the stitching pony. Okay, so I can unseat myself from the stitching a pony apparatus. Now what has to happen is this. And this is where the real excitement is. This is the real excitement. Okay, so I can put that up there and I can look at myself. Now I'm looking at myself, so I'm not looking at the camera. This is a light right here that I need. And let's go down back here to the okay. I have got to put this little tiny needle on this piece of thread. Now, I know this is like watching paint dry, okay? I know. This is like watching grass being cut or paint drying. That's about the excitement level that what I'm doing right now. Should you have a choice in your life at this point, if you'd rather watch paint dry or me thread a needle, take the paint drying, okay? I'm telling you, take the paint drying. It's more interesting than this. Because this is a tiny needle, and you'll see why the needle needs to be tiny in just a moment. Holy shit. Look, I almost had to use foul language on YouTube. Okay, one is threaded. One needle is threaded. Now I've got to thread the other needle. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. So here's the other needle, all right? This is your standard sewing needle that grandma used to use. That grandma used to fix your socks with. You go, Junior, you got a hole in your friggin' sock. Because grandma had kind of a mouth on her, you know? Grandma wasn't gonna broach no bullshit from, anybody. Now comes the problem. Now comes where the real rubber meets the road. This little needle here, okay, this is smaller than the other needle, but now you see the line of thread right there, okay? This has to go back a couple of spaces, and you have to do this. You have to put it through the same holes that are already there, that already have thread through them. And not only do you have to do that, you have to do it without catching the thread that's already there. Okay, so you sort of work this in slowly where you think is the best place to not catch the thread. Okay, now you can see that it's coming out right down here. Let's see if you see that. You see that needle right there? That's coming out in a bad place. So I'm going to redirect this needle to the good place, which should be where the other thread came out. Okay, so now, there. Now you see the needle? Isn't this fascinating? So the needle's going in there, and the needle's coming out here, And I hope that I have not caught a piece of thread in there. Because if I did, the whole thing's got to come apart and be done again. Now, what you need here is here we go. What you need is a pair of pliers to pull this through. Because as you can imagine, okay, now it looks like I did okay. It looks like I did not catch the needle. So here's the thread, okay? I'm gonna pull it through. And all I'm doing is backing this up. All right, so now I've pulled it through. This is it down here. I've backed it up one. I've pulled it through and it looks okay on the outside. See right there where I pulled it through? It did not catch the other thread. Okay, that's what you want. Now this one here, this is where it really gets complicated. This one here has now got to go through that same hole that has had now 1, 2. This is the third piece of thread that's going to go through the same hole. Okay, and still the goal is to not catch another piece of thread. Because if you catch the other piece of thread, you're just screwed. The project's over. It's not over, but you got to back out the thread. So you have to try and get it through any way you can. And I know that there's some real leather guys out there that are shaking their heads and going, what is this buffoon doing? What the hell does he think he's doing? And what I'm doing right now is I'm taking a little break because it really starts to get to you. Let's see what kind of comments there are. Any live chats? Josie, a smaller needle to backstitch. Yes, Mark, a smaller needle to backstitch. My wife still fixes socks and t-shirts. That's cool. Learn to make a great wallet. Is that the baloney pony? Do you have an investment opportunity for those who want to invest in your wallet company? No. It takes me, these things have been sitting there for months as I go to the Philippines or wherever. These things just sit there. But no matter what, it still takes, when I come back, it still takes the same amount of skill to do them as it did when I left. It never gets any easier. So now, this is the hard part. This is the part where, this is the worst part. Well, there's many worse parts to this endeavor. Cutting is bad. Punching is bad. See, this one is done. This side is done. See that? You can see the stitches are done right down here. Okay, and at the end, that's the way these things work, is they work with fire. Okay, you fire finish the ends of these so they don't come out. Now, fire finishing really sounds more professional than it actually is. But I'm telling you, fire finishing is the way these things have to be finished so they do not come apart. So I'm going to try putting this needle through the, let's see, it's coming out in the wrong place. God damn it. See, I had to say a foul word there. This is the hard part, is getting this needle to come out in the right place. See, it's coming out in the, it's coming out in the thread. I don't want it to come out in the thread. I want it to come out somewhere other than the thread. It can't catch the thread. It just cannot catch the thread. If you catch the thread, it has to be backed out and put through again. I'd like to put it through right there. How come I can't put it through right there? Where does that come out? That comes out way down there. See where that comes out? That comes out down too far. It's got to go through. It's got to go through right here. It's got to go through right there. And there's already 3 pieces of thread that's been put through there. This is the hardest part, is to put this 3rd piece of thread through here. Whoop, look at that. I think I almost got it. Whoa. Okay, you see that needle right there? The needle coming through there? Let me see if I caught some thread. I might have caught some thread, but that'll be okay because this piece of thread is going to be burned into place anyway. So as long as I got it through there, I'm good. So now I've rethreaded that. I take this and I pull this through. I take that and I pull it through, and I pull it through. And I make sure it's not going to loop around that. And I pull it, and I make sure that's going to go where it should. I pull it down, and that's it. I've done it without catching the thread. So that's 3. That's 3 that went through right down here. Now I've got to take one more. I got to take this one here and put it back through the next stitch up this way. Okay. This really is truly a load of work. That's why, you know what? If I'm going to sell these things, man, I'm going to try and make some money out of them, because they are really, truly a load of work. I mean, they are, as you can see, this is not a Chinese factory where I am given the stitching responsibilities to the Chinese to manufacture the Montelli wallet. Not that the Chinese probably couldn't do a better job, okay, because they do it every day. I'm sure they can. Okay, so now this is a prime example of what happened, okay? I got to take that needle off of there. That pisses me off right there. A prime example of what happens is right here, okay, right here. I went through this thread. I went through the thread, right? I don't know, you probably can't see that, but I can see that. I went through the thread, and that's no good. Okay, so I got to take this thread back out. I got to re-put this needle back on, and I got to try it again. You do not want to go through the thread. Going through the thread is a bad thing. Going through the thread, it's one of those things where if you mess it up and you go through the thread, you have to pull it out and you have to do it again. That can be applied to a lot of things in life, all right? Don't think it can't. If you do it wrong, you got to pull it out and do it again. Let's see what some of the comments are while I'm sitting here doing, virtually nothing. Well, not virtually nothing. Let's see. Welcome. Remember the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Sonny says if he sold the wallets he had, it would cause serious deforestation. It would deplete the nickel mines. Good one, Ian. Yeah, it's Sonny. I'm not saying it's not cheaper to buy, really go with the blue blockers. You can put in a retromagnetic closure. What, Mark, if you're just going to start doing this, if you're just going to start doing stuff, whether it's wallets or, key fobs or key things or whatever, you know what? Just get some cheap leather to start with. Doesn't have to be great because you're going to mess it up. You're just gonna mess it up. You just are. I mean, I'm not saying you are gonna mess it up. I'm saying in general, this is designed. I don't know how many wallets hit the trash before I finally got one that worked. All right, so let's go back to work here. Let's go back to work. Let's go back to putting this one needle through one hole and not catching the leather. I mean, not catching the. Let's put it through one hole and not catch the thread on the other side. You got to do it somehow. It's got to be done. It's got to be finished. All right. Oh, look, see, it's right there. I don't think I'm catching any thread. Let's see. Let's push it through a little more. See, I think I'm catching a little bit of thread. See, I don't want to push there. Don't want to push there. This is like you got to. Okay, there. Now I got it through. You see that I got it through without catching any leather. You can see that or not, but I got it through without catching the leather. I mean, without catching the thread. Okay, so now we go back to the outside. This is going to be the last stitch on this side. So I'm going to pull this tight, but I'm going to make sure that it's straightened when I do pull it tight. So I don't want it all kind of, I don't want it all kind of weird looking. And okay, so there. Okay, so now this whole line of stitching is done. Okay, the whole line is done. So what we do now is you got your needles. So you take your needle off your thread, put them where you know where they are so you don't step on them, because let me tell you, when I was in x-ray, I don't know how many people I x-rayed that they step on a needle, okay, and they can't find it in their foot. They just can't find it. So what you got to do is you got to take a pair of scissors and you cut the thread, okay? So now you've got this. Now you got this right here. Now, let me show you what you do next. Okay, next, I'm coming over here to the edge of the granite countertop. Okay, here's the countertop right here. And what I've got to do is, I know, this is fascinating. It's like, how could anybody actually? This is the ultimate in killing your boredom. So you got these two big pieces of thread right here, right? Okay, so what you're going to do is, number one, you're going to trim them shorter. See, there they are. Okay, so number one, you're going to trim them shorter. If I could see them, I would trim them shorter, but I'm having a little trouble seeing. You know how it goes. Now I'm going to trim them a little shorter. Okay, now, there. You see them right there? These two little pieces of thread right there? Now one's still a little long. I'm going to trim that. I don't want to trim it too much, just a little bit. Okay. All right. So now comes the final. Now comes the final. How do you hold this thread in place? How do you make sure this thread doesn't come out? Well, here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. I am down on the floor and I got a lighter, all right? I am going to take this lighter and I am going to touch it to the top of the thread. And then I'm going to push it with my finger. And I'm going to take the second, I'm going to do it again with the second piece that's sticking out. I'm going to light it and I'm going to push it with the top of my finger. Oh my God. Oh. 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 So what have I done? I have completely finished this stitch on the wallet. And every stitch, you can see up top here, fire finished. You see those two little things right there? Fire finished. On the bottom, fire finished. That's how you finish a saddle stitch on a wallet, is with fire. So this one has now been successfully stitched. I still have one more line of stitching to go on it, and I'm not going to subject you to my last line of stitching, but I just wanted to show how long it does actually take to make a wallet. Now this is still kind of rough, okay? The edges have not been burnished yet. I will go through and I will straighten the stitching. I will change the direction of the stitching a little bit. You know, the stitching doesn't have to come out, it just has to be repositioned so it's visually acceptable, something like that. So I still have one line of stitching to go down here on the bottom. So I'm not gonna put you through that, but that is just a little hint of how long it actually takes to do this. If you're really fast, if you got some more experience, you're gonna do it quicker. But this is actually me putting these things together one at a time. So I will put a link up in the header of the YouTube channel, $50 each, because I gotta put in each little thread and sweat, and it just, anyway. That is it for now. I will talk to you later, and